Hello, beautiful people of the internet. Welcome back to the Games and Culture Podcast, episode 47.
47?
I
I
think
think it's
that's
47.
right.
First last one's 46, so 47.
We don't
We're
look
going
before we
47.
start these. It's just
No,
a
we
guess.
should.
It's just a roll the dice every single time. I agree. I think it's 47 because I think the last episode was 46. But episode 46 of the Games and Culture Podcast. Weirdly enough, this one's not a bad one. Last one was
Feel
all
bad
bad.
news.
This one
This
has a
was all
couple
bad.
bad.
Yeah, some
Well,
improvement.
well,
So
so if everybody just stops laying off people and people release really good games, this show could be really positive all the time.
yeah.
That's the secret. Um, but
Unfortunately,
yeah,
the
we
world's
got
a bad place, so
yeah,
we can't have that.
that's true. Got Nintendo's in the news for some decent things, actually. EA's in the news for not decent things. And a couple other like decent news stories to go over in this episode. So, some good stuff this week. So thank God for that, because my stress level cannot afford to go any higher. Um, but as always, we'll start off with what we've been playing. I've been playing Monster Hunter Stories 3, so that's
That's
that's uh
fair.
that's what it is. I've also been playing Pokopia, which we'll cover a little bit later. And I've also played a decent amount of Slay the Spire 2. I'd like to start there. Went in early access last week at the time of recording. Phenomenal. The first game had such a great structure to it. Second game, you just give me more of that, and then I'm golden. Still relentlessly hard, still relentlessly fun. Um, I think I have a greater appreciation for it now. Now that I've been playing the Pokemon trading card game for a year now, so deck building is something that like I enjoy doing. So I think Slay the Spire 2 even hits harder than Slay the Spire 1 does, and it's phenomenal. It's phenomenal. I don't know how else to say it. 500,000 concurrent players on Steam. Its first weekend. Um, showing everybody that you don't have to put out a fucking live service game to hit those numbers. You can just put out a really fucking good game. And that's exactly what Slay the Spire 2 is. So excited to see what else they're gonna do, because just like when Hades 2 released into early access, this game is feature complete already. So it'll be interesting to see what they add. They already have more characters than the first game. They already have more cards than the first game. So I really don't know where the fuck else they're gonna go. It's one of those times where I'm just like, I can't believe this isn't the full release yet. You're gonna give me more for free? Like, okay.
Indie games do it different.
Yeah. And then Monster Stories 2, Stories 3, fantastic so far. I'm about 10 hours in. And they've just upped the ante in a ton of ways. So they made the character that you play as older, and so they've aged up the story as well. It's very clear that they're going for like a Final Fantasy Clair Obscure kind of Trails kind of storyline, where it's still very much so anime, power, friendship, all that shit, but there is this very intense geopolitical story between these two kingdoms. One kingdom that you're the prince of is the haves, the other kingdom is the have-nots, and that's kind of causing some political tension, and there's some environmental hazards that are like forcing that tension to be higher. It's very interesting, wrapped in this like Pokemon clone of a Monster Hunter game. So excited to see where it goes from here, but so far it's fantastic. Fucking relentlessly difficult though. I did not expect that. Like, I have fought most everything that I've encountered. I have even, you know, channeled, so you can like change your monsters like abilities and like stats by channeling monsters you may not want to use into them. And I've done that like for a decent amount of my monsties, and I'm still getting, and I have like the best armor and the best equipment that I could have at this point, and I'm still getting bodied by stuff that I've been trying to fight that maybe I'm not ready to fight. But a lot of times in the previous games, you could do that just by like knowing your shit and maybe a little bit of luck, but not in this game. If that thing has a fucking yellow icon above it indicating that it's a little bit above your level, no, it's really above your level, and you're gonna get fucking destroyed. So that slight thing is affecting my enjoyment a little bit, because I always love fighting harder enemies in JRPGs and using my skill to overcome them. Like I think Clair Obscur was really good about that. They give you dodge and parry and say you could fight anything. You just better hope you land your parries and your dodges. And so there's a lot of the like overworld bosses in Clair Obscur that I fought and won just based on my skill and determination. But not in this game. Fuck you. Like my partners and their monsties are putting way more damage than me, and I'm just like I have the best of everything I can get right now. Like it's kind of weird, but it's all right.
That's fine. Do you think? Because I know a lot when Monster Two Stories 2 came out, that was your game of the year that year. Do you think this one has a shot at being the
Well,
repeat?
last year I said that Monster Hunter Wilds is going to be my game of the year, and it was not. Um, I do think that this one stands the chance. But I will say that this year's already been a little bit surprising. I didn't expect Pokopia to be as good as it is.
Yeah, that's
Um,
heard.
so I'm inclined to still say yes with a very large asterisk next to it because I just don't know.
It's in the
Because
running.
Pragmata could come out and just fucking blow me away, and I play it 2 times over, and I'm like fuck yeah. Or the rest of this year could be fucking awful, and de facto Monster Hunter Stories 3 will win it. So who knows? Um, Wolverine does also come out this year, so that's tough competition. I
That's
don't
fair.
think
That's fair.
Stories 2 had the same amount of competition. So
No,
we'll
I was just
see.
curious.
I am still extremely enjoying it so far, so it definitely will make my list. I can definitively say that.
That's
Um,
fair.
and the art style, they've just taken the next level up. I thought about getting this game on my Switch too, but decided to get it on my Steam Deck because I read some early reports that Steam Deck has a little bit better frame rate and the OLED screen really is nice. And I get to play it on my super awesome PC. And this game at 120 frames per second, fucking shoo-wee. It's nice. My Steam Deck does not do that, but it's nice. So, um,
That's fair.
very, very good. What have you been playing? I know that you just finished Resident Evil 9.
Yes. So from one Capcom game to another, because they're just swinging for the fences right now.
Mm-hmm.
I finished RE9, so the review coming. I haven't all the time because of work and stuff like that to kind of write out the review for it, but I will be doing the solo review for it. Um, but I'll have nothing but praise for it. I mean, it's fantastic. It's definitely it. Kind of long story short, it's a combination of when you can tell of previous RE games. You have Grace's gameplay being the survival horror, Leon's gameplay being the action horror. But both of those gameplays do very well at what they do. And they do pace out very well. I will say maybe near the back half's a little less paced out, less well paced out than the first half of the game. But still, it's for the story purposes, it makes sense how they did it, the way they did it. But yeah, I mean, it's just Resident Evil throwing out another banger. If you like Resident Evil games, if you like RE2 or RE4, I highly recommend getting it. So, it's great. I've also been playing Returnal since I finished it. I haven't because I never got a chance to play through it. I'm playing through it in preparation for Sorrows coming out at the end of next month. Um, I definitely like. I know I attempted to play it once before, and I just kind of fell off of it. I don't remember what distracted me from it. But also, I think there was a couple of issues I had with it. The first one, they didn't have the spend function the first
Yeah.
time around, so it was really hard for the first time around because like it's a roguelike like Hades before it, but like Hades has a spend function for one, and also a Hades run only takes like 40 minutes. A run in this is hours, a lot longer. So without a spend function, like if I want to stop playing a game with my friends, I lose all my progress through a run. Very frustrating. That's gone now. If I want to stop, spend, and play again with my friends, I can do that now, which I think is a much better, good quality of life upgrade.
Yeah.
After that, since that's been fixed, there's also lots of play through the Hades games. I do have an appreciation for what it does, and it's super fun. It's actually really difficult. Um, I'm very excited to see how they take some of the improvements because I feel like, if I remember correctly, Returnal came out like right around the time Hades 1 did.
It
So
was. I think it was after.
yeah,
So I think
so,
Hades came out in like a September kind of area, and Returnal came out that following March.
yeah. But that time frame, there's not enough time between those two releases to make enough adjustments to Returnal to learn lessons from Hades.
Yeah.
So I am curious what the lessons they learned from Returnal and Hades, because if you're a roguelike, you're learning here from Hades. It's just what's going to happen.
Mhm.
What changes they make to Sorrows. But
Well, I mean, in the last trailer for Star Wars, they showed that in between runs, you have this like hub that you can talk to other characters and stuff like that. So I think that they've learned quite a few lessons from Hades.
yeah, yeah, which makes it sense. I mean, if they take those lessons from Hades and then combine it with what they've done well with Returnal, Sorrows could be a Game of the Year contender. I think Sorrows has potential to land in my top 10. I'm not don't know for certain, obviously, but the sauce, the ingredients are there for it.
Or, shout out to our good friend Tauros, who fucking loves Housemark games. Saros will be his game of the year. De facto, there's. I can't wait to. He at one point had topped like the leaderboards for Returnal. Loves the Housemark games. I'd say probably their number one fan if I had to guess. And so I'm sure that he's going to put hundreds of thousands of hours into into Sorrows,
So,
especially since there's not another Division game right now. So
no. So I'm really excited for it. So I did also try the Pragmata demo finally.
oh, okay, yeah, I have
Uh,
not done that yet. So how did you
I
like it?
it's interesting. I was always very wary about it because like this combat system seems so weird,
Yeah.
and it definitely is strange, but it works surprisingly.
Okay.
Um,
Okay.
so I am kind of glad because I did look at the price of the game. It's actually cheaper than most other like Capcom games. It's like I think it's 60 instead of 70.
Yeah.
Like Resident Evil 9 was. So I think it's okay. Just this is a more experimental game, so we're gonna be more lenient on the price. Um, but definitely what has me intrigued more. Like, okay, I want to see more. I want to see how this combat system flushes itself out. I could see if it doesn't flush itself out, it getting very repetitive. But it doesn't. Even with the demo, it feels like there was expansion already happening, but we obviously they only give us a nibble of it.
Okay. And so I assume you played that on your PlayStation 5?
Yes.
Okay. The reason why I ask is because it is coming to Switch 2. It is coming to PC as well. So, um, be interesting to see what system people get it on. Yeah, I need to play the demo. I've been wanting to, just haven't pulled the trigger on it yet. But I mean, the first hurdle I feel like is the combat working.
Mhm.
Because I think that was the part where you and I were like, "Oh, this is kind of weird." But as long as it
It,
works, it's
it
not clunky. Then that's the first hurdle.
it definitely yeah, it definitely is. It looks clunky, but once you play, like, oh, it's just not very clunky at all. It's definitely unique, but it doesn't feel clunky.
I mean, that's a good sign then, because I mean, Pragmata is part 3 of Chadcom's fucking 2026 takeover, because they still have slated for this year Onimusha in the fall. So, and that's of course if there's no Ace Attorney shenanigans somewhere in the year, which fingers
Like
crossed for that one.
these. There's also year 4 of Street Fighter 6. They'll probably announce in June, so we'll see what
Yeah,
that
and
includes.
they'll probably release some stuff for Monster Hunter Wilds as well. So, Capcom probably going to be in that S tier this year for our developer tier list at the end of the year. But talking about the last game I've been playing, Pokopia, I have put it down for Monster Hunter Stories 3, but Pokopia is quite fun. It's this weird mismatch of Pokemon meets Animal Crossing meets Minecraft. I think its closest comparison would probably be Pokemon Minecraft, but there is the community building aspect of Animal Crossing. It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. Um, I think the biggest difference and the biggest strength of Pokopia versus its two kind of
Mm.
inspirations is the fact that there actually is a story.
Hmm.
You are Ditto, whose trainer has disappeared. You've encountered other Pokemon whose trainers and people have disappeared. The
Uh-oh.
Pokemon themselves have disappeared, and you're bringing them back to the environment by creating houses for and habitats for them. But the biggest kind of story is like, where are the humans? Because there's plenty of evidence that there were humans.
Mhm.
And what really cool is that you're in the Kanto region. Like, you
Oh.
visit Cantonian cities that have been wastelanded by time, and you're uncovering the mysteries of what has happened to arguably Pokemon's most famous region, being Kanto, its first region. So, very, very cool, very, very fun. Um, just as much freedom as you'd find in Minecraft. Um, these even though there is a story, it's very loosely pushing you along. If you just want to fucking make habitats for Pokemon and build a bunch of shit in the very first area, nothing is stopping you from doing so. But there are different biomes that have different Pokemon that you can entice out by building their habitats. And the writing's really, really funny. Pokemon's got some goofy shit to say. There's this really fun photo mechanic where the Pokemon will do like weird stuff, and then you could take a photo of it. Like for instance, in the first area, you can get a Hitmonchan and a Hitmonlee, and they'll spar together, and you can capture a photo of that, which is really, really cool. Um, just a lot of love and care put into this game by Omega Force. I think it's Omega Force, right?
I think so. I'm not 100% sure
Koei
who.
Tecmo. Yeah, I think it's Omega Force, but Koei Tecmo, um, with the help of Game Freak, um, they knocked it out of the park, and to the point where there's difficulty getting this game now. Pretty much every physical retailer sold out of it all constantly.
Wow.
Amazon even price gouged the price for like a day before people caught on to it and asked them to stop. So much so that global sales in its first 4 days for Pokopia, 2.2 million units. Uh,
Wow.
Keep in mind that this is a Switch 2 exclusive.
And
So,
it's a very oddball Pokemon game. So I mean,
mhm.
2.2. It's usually not usually a for a Pokemon game that sounds kind of low, but they probably weren't expecting this high of want for it.
Yeah, I think that's why physical retailers are selling out, is because I don't think that even Nintendo thought this game was going to be as like universally loved as it is. To the point where even critics, this is the critics' favorite Pokemon game, having like a Metacritic score of nearly 90, highest rated Pokemon game ever, not made by Game Freak.
There's the ticket.
Yes, I do think that there is definitely some wake up calls that need to be happening at Game Freak. Pokopia selling extremely well. Like I said, I've put probably about 20 hours into it. It's quite enjoyable, quite fun. I think this game has that same kind of global appeal that Animal Crossing did back in 2020, where it's just like a fun cozy game that you can go to escape to.
Yeah, that's kind of I've seen TikToks about it. I think you said the same thing where it's like people are like, 2020 world's going to hell. Here's Animal Crossing. 2026 world's going to hell. Here's Poketopia.
Say, hey, great, sick, sign me up. Things are going to shit. Um, but I do think that if you're a Pokemon fan, there are a lot of things to be excited for. The Pokemon 30th anniversary presentation was a couple weeks ago. They did announce Generation 10, Pokemon Winds and Waves. Trailer looked great. 3 stars look great. We'll fucking see, man. It comes out 2027. So hopefully they use that time to actually make the game great.
Yeah, that was my. I was just announcing to him like, oh god, please, take your time with it. And they said we're coming out next year because usually they announce it the same year they release it, and they're not
Yep.
doing that. So I'm like, okay, good. Take your time, get it right. Um, we'll hope. And Switch 2 exclusive. Now,
Yes.
granted, the Switch 1 for Pokemon Violet should be easy to handle what was going on there, but that's what happened. Hopefully, Switch 2 they can get around some problems. At least somehow. Um, and we have a really good Pokemon game. The starters looks good. I'm actually not a fan of the water one.
Oh, I see. I like Gekwa. Gekwa's pretty cool, I think.
I think he's the least interesting of the three, honestly. Pompon is the cutest by far,
Yeah.
but the Brout propaganda is working because that they have
Yeah.
made this thing the bird of war.
The Brout propaganda is fierce. I will say. I mean, I will save judgment for when we get some of the evolutionary information and stuff like
That's
that. But
true.
I
Because
quite
I
like
swear,
Gekwa.
because if the Pompon evolves to be bipedal, I swear to God.
Yeah, I really hope, and I hope that Gekwa also remains not bipedal, um, because they just need more animal-like Pokemon. It's
Mhm.
it's so stupid. I mean, granted, there's no cats this time, so cats tend to be the ones that they turn into bipedals with Incineroar and Meowscarada. So maybe, but who knows? But yeah, Winds and Waves looks good. There's really nothing else in the Pokemon 30th anniversary announcement to even remotely talk about other than Winds of Wave. So hopefully Game Freak learns a few lessons from Beast of Reincarnation. It puts out a good open world game. Who knows? We got a long time to wait for it. So Pokopia is going to have to last you for a while. Um,
It
I'll
seems
be
to be up to the
interested to see
task.
if they do anything with anything more with Z to A, because I feel like there's an opportunity for a second DLC this year.
Possibly.
Since especially since the first DLC came out so quick, and then obviously there's
Mhm.
Pokemon Champions in April, but that looks to be like a trash fire. So we'll see.
Yeah.
Um, but talking about Nintendo, let's they love their lawsuits, and most of the time when we're talking about Nintendo suing somebody, it's them suing a little dev that's trying to, preserve their games and do good by the gaming community. This time Nintendo's trying to do good by the gaming community on their own, not taking out any little guys in the process. In
Nintendo
fact,
need the.
they are suing the
Let's say
US
that.
government.
Let's say the Nintendo Ninjas chose a good target this time.
Yes. Um we'll get into the original story, and then there actually has been an update here recently. So, Nintendo of America is suing the U.S. government, including the Department of Treasury, Department of Homeland Security, and U.S. Customs and Border Protections over the tariffs implemented in 2025 via executive order from President Donald Trump. I'm looking at a Nintendo Life article on the subject. As reported, the complaint concerns the initiation and administration of unlawful trade measures that have, to date, resulted in the collection of over $200 billion in tariffs on imports from nearly all countries. Nintendo believes that the tariffs set via the IEEPA, International Emergency Economic Powers Act, have caused it to suffer imminent and irreparable harm for the entries it has paid. Just last month, the U.S. Supreme Court struck down Trump tariffs and deemed them to be illegal, citing their use under an act meant for national emergencies. The complaint states that all tariffs collected under the IEEPA duties must be refunded with interest. Nintendo joins a bunch of other companies, including FedEx, Costco, and Revlon, in an attempt to recoup the cost from the tariffs, with a federal judge in New York recently ruling that companies would be entitled to refunds following the decision of the Supreme Court. In the update, the lawsuit against the U.S. government has been automatically stayed or paused pending the results of a tariff case submitted to the Court of International Trade to the Supreme Court. So, looks like we need one more Supreme Court ruling to decide the fate of this lawsuit. But Nintendo joining a bunch of other companies and saying like this is not okay.
Hmm. I'm glad they're pushing forward with it. I mean, fuck the United States government. I think that's a very common sentiment right now.
Yeah,
Um, but I mean, we're gonna get a little political on this one because it's obviously a very political topic. So, apologies. But I'm glad they're pushing forward with it because I know there's also been some cases of one of Trump's secretaries, his company is buying like the rights to these refunds, so they buy them like 20% on the dollar or something like that. So basically, he would get the refunds, and the companies who'd buy it from him get the money now and just wash their hands of it. Um, so it was all a scam, but Nintendo doesn't seem to be playing ball with that, which is good.
yeah,
You know, because Nintendo should have never. This, it's obvious this was stupid from the get go.
yeah,
Um, the Constitution of the United States very clearly stated that tariff power rests with Congress, not the president. But we have a lot of issues right now where the president of the United States is not listening to the Constitution at all.
yeah,
So we're just in a world of mess. I mean, another problem we have is unfortunately the dumbass decided as soon as the Supreme Court said no, your tariffs are illegal, he said I'm going to put 15% tariffs on everybody for something else because he thinks he's above the law, and because this country has treated him as above the law for over a decade. And now we're in this mess,
yeah.
a lot bigger messes than just Nintendo getting money back. But it's kind of in the grand scheme of things, it's not it's kind of small potatoes, but for gaming wise, it is a good thing that Nintendo is doing this.
Yeah. Because I mean, prices across the board for pretty much everything gaming related have been up, and in the PC space, it's because of AI and all that kind of shit, and in the console space, a little bit of AI and stuff like that, but also these fucking tariffs. Nintendo has done everything in their power to not raise the price of the Switch 2. I'm imagining that this lawsuit is the last ditch effort to continue to not have to raise the price of the Switch 2. And if it for some reason does not succeed, I would imagine the Switch 2 would reach $500, since
Mhm.
they raised the cost of everything else regarding the Switch 2, like accessories and stuff, due to the tariffs, trying real hard not to raise the price of the Switch 2 at this critical time for it.
Well, I mean,
Um,
when the Switch 2 was announced, literally the next day, Trump's dumbass decided to do his tariffs, and so Nintendo had to pull back and go, okay, wait, hold on. In the U.S. specifically, we're going to have to hold off on allowing pre-orders for that,
yep,
just because we're still, we're scrambling, and everyone else was. So he's been a fucking thorn in Nintendo's side with the Switch 2 the entire time.
yep.
But obviously, he's been a thorn in everyone's side for a lot of other things right now. So, um, unfortunately, though, with other things going on in the world right now, things prices will be going up because for oil and shit like that.
Yeah.
So the world's not out of the woods yet until he's gone. But
Yeah. So, good guy Nintendo, honestly, for fighting the good fight, and not raising the prices. I mean, obviously that they have stake in it. Like they didn't want to raise prices and then nobody buy the Switch 2. But they are still trying to do the consumer approach of like, we'll raise prices on everything else. We want you to still buy the console, so please still buy the console. So,
that can only last so long. I mean,
yeah,
Sony thought ahead with the because when Trump got elected, they shipped a bunch of PS5s to the U.S. to make sure that they would get ahead of the tariffs. They knew they were coming because they paid attention to his campaign. But that was only a stopgap for so long
yeah,
until they ran out of supply here and go went.
yeah.
So
But that's a console that's been out for 5 years versus a console that's trying to make their way into people's homes. Like Nintendo needs people to adopt the Switch 2, especially since they're not making Switch 1 games anymore. So they need people to buy the Switch 2. Raising the price is not going to incentivize that. So, I appreciate Nintendo holding off the best they can and trying all other options, but yeah, it's probably not going to last for very much longer. Um, through no fault of their own, they're doing the best they
no.
can. So rare good lawsuit. Rare good lawsuit.
Good luck, Nintendo lawyers. Good luck.
Good luck.
Never thought I'd say those words.
Uh, so let's go from a company doing their best to a company that is EA. EA is not a favorite company of ours.
For a company of nobodies.
Yeah, for real. I except for the sports shills. If you buy Madden and NFC, you're contributing to the problem. But EA, famous for being owned by the Saudis now, laid off a bunch of people from the Battlefield studios. Battlefield 6 was the best-selling game of last year, doing the impossible and beating Call of Duty for the first time ever. And their reward was a massive layoffs. I'm looking at an IGN article about it. Um, they're all of the studios that contributed to Battlefield, including Criterion, Ripple Effect, Motive Studios, and obviously the biggest company of them, Dice, all received layoffs. Unfortunately, at this point, the number is unknown. So we don't know how many people were laid off, but individuals that are being informed that layoffs are taking place as part of a realignment across Battlefield Studios as the team continues its ongoing live service support for Battlefield 6 following the launch. All four studios will remain operational, although the layoffs seem to impact a variety of teams across multiple studios and offices. Um, I cannot stress this enough. Battlefield 6 was the highest selling game in the US in 2025. Usually a throne that literally has Call of Duty embedded in stone on it. Battlefield blew up the throne, built a new one of their own this year.
After
And
how many years of trying?
yeah, pretty much they're both in pretty much the entire lifespan of Call of Duty and Battlefield. Battlefield has been trying to dethrone Call of Duty. Finally does it, and the teams get met with layoffs. Um, like I said, I'm referencing an IGN article about it. IGN asked EA for comment for total number and types of roles impacted, as well as the specific reasons for the layoffs. An EA spokesperson replied, "We've made select changes within our Battlefield organization to better align our teams around what matters most to our community. Battlefield remains one of our biggest priorities, and we're continuing to invest in the franchise, guided by player feedback and insights from Battlefield Labs." For those not know, Battlefield Labs is a collection of Battlefield content creators and high ranked players that they've really leaned into with Battlefield 6 to make sure Battlefield 6 hit the mark. And it did. Can't stress that enough. It did. um, I think so. These layoffs looks to be mostly due to the player sentiment souring on Battlefield and players leaving. Um, Sounds like major issues reported include criticism of heavy monetization, use of generative AI for in-game cosmetics, and fewer content updates than expected. The criticism was heavy enough that the teams delayed the start of season 2 to allow more time to implement community feedback. Um, But its peak concurrent player at launch was 747,000 players on Steam, and currently, right now, it sits in the tens of thousands, which is still good. like, this is just wild. Um, I do want to point out that these layoffs came months after the sudden death of Vince Zampella, who came from Respawn to lead the development of Battlefield 6 and is a huge reason why this game released in the feature complete great state that it did. So I can't really explain this. This is just pretty stupid. I
I
mean,
mean,
there's always a downsizing of staffs after a game releases because you just don't need as many hands on deck to keep a game running. But this seems a lot more than that. Even though we don't have numbers, it just seems like because players moved on to other things, these guys are being punished, and that's not that's not how things work.
geez, 15 years ago, you could sell, copy of Battlefield 3 and the desert would be fine because, just selling the game was enough. But unfortunately, you said it doesn't make sense. No, it does because this is what capitalism does. This is what the greed. They always want more. It's never. It's parasitic. They want infinite growth, so they'll consume the thing that's actually giving them growth, and to fry it up real fast to get growth now. But then next year when they don't grow, they're like, oh, what happened? They don't even grow; they'll shrink. And eventually, I mean, I assumed Battlefield would be a little safe, but I mean, the sale to the Saudis hasn't gone through just yet. It's still in the working through its legal stuff, but on one hand, there's I want to say it will be rubber stamped, but if it goes through, then they're going to try and downsize to make up the debt because they're going to be on the hook for a bunch of leveraged debt, which is insane. That we allow that type of crap to happen. Um, there is a possibility I think that might not go through, just because world events right now, and I'll put it to say war changes priorities. So Middle East stuff might change priorities. They might pull out of that deal, which that honestly would be for the best if it did. That how it would happen. Same thing with Paramount buying the Warner Brothers. I think it would be the best if that just collapsed. Who knows? But it's literally just that they're consuming everything. They're trying. They want more and more money for to just put in their own pocket. And anything else be damned.
Yeah.
But this type of stuff is not just happening in gaming; it's happening in food, gas, the entire U.S. healthcare industry. It's
Yep.
just a everything, no matter what it is, just destroy it and float to the top.
Yep. It was just sad because I mean the goal for Battlefield has always been to topple Call of Duty. They do it and they are rewarded with layoffs.
Mm-hmm.
So As always, our hearts go out to the devs that were laid off. I'm sure that we'll have to come back to the story and update it when numbers are actually given, if they're actually ever given. But yeah, they did what they were supposed to do and paid the price for it. Um,
Well, what's the point of like wanting a game now? You're literally you make the best selling game of the year, you're laid off.
yeah,
Why even try?
yeah,
Why even fucking bother with EA?
yeah. I don't know. I don't like I said. This is just like we've talked about multiple times. This this is the market. Um, this is the market that is representative of the collapse of AAA gaming. Like, unless you're doing it in like the literally the most ethical way and like budget minded way possible, your game is just has expectations that it's never going to reach. And by all accounts, this is
But
Battlefield reaching those expectations, and it's still not being enough. If you're a dev at a AAA studio that isn't fucking Insomniac, like I'd be calling up Supergiant or Sandfall and be like, hey, do you got room for another one? Like, here's my
I mean,
portfolio.
we have an industry which is the highest. We have an industry, the game industry, which takes in more money than the music industry and the film industry combined, and yet it's being hammered by layoffs constantly because because of parasitic finance bros.
Yeah, it's wild. I just like I how I just don't understand how the brain works. I just really don't, because you would stand to make more money by keeping this dev studio that did the thing that you set out to do together and then doing it again and again and again. Um the CEO of Larian, Sven, has talked about for multiple years like the talent drain, the talent drain of the video game industry. And that's exactly what's happening. Somebody comes in, helps make a fucking killer ass game, and then gets laid off. And so every game is seemingly starting from fucking zero, or with only the bad devs that are a part of it. And it's just like gaming's not being pushed forward in the AAA space. All of these great devs are moving on to AA studios like Larian or Supergiant or Sandfall, and fucking destroying their AAA counterparts with just games that have so much heart and so much depth and so much just inherent goodness that you can't help but play it. Like, every day is a struggle for me not to replay Claire Obscure.
Same thing with me in Dispatch.
Like it's a daily struggle, and it's because that game was made by people that gave a fuck and made the game good, so I want to interact with it more. Like,
Hmm.
Claire,
I mean,
like
it's like
anybody from Sandfall could show up in my front door and say, "Hey, here's all this merch for $1,000," and whether or not I have $1,000, I'm gonna get that merch because I love that game so much and I love them so much. So like we gotta do what we gotta do. Like, like I just don't understand it. It even from the greed angle, it just doesn't make sense because you stand to make more by keeping these guys
well,
together.
as you say, it's not a factor of like the. I don't want to say the devs like the Battlefield 6 devs. They made a good product. I mean, I'm not a big fan of Battlefield personally, but I did try the beta. I'm like, this feels like Battlefield. Like, what I expect Battlefield to be, it hit those marks. It wasn't something I was going to play all the time, so I didn't buy it personally, but it did well. So I don't want to, say the devs, didn't do a good job. They did. It's these finance bros. It's the upper management. And in your question of like, well, what are why are they doing it this way? I mean, a couple years ago, when Tango got closed down after just put out Hi-Fi Rush, which is excellent, Microsoft closed it down because they didn't have anything else ready. It was like, well, you have to let them. But these people cannot see farther ahead of the next quarterly report. Like, they genuinely cannot see past that point.
Yeah,
And until we have an entirely systematic change that they are forced, because I just don't believe they're going to willingly do it until they are forced to start looking, beyond the next, start looking at the next score report and look beyond that. We're going to keep having these type of stories.
yeah. it's just ridiculous. It's just stupid and ridiculous. Doesn't make any sense to me personally. And yeah, even if you can just see to the next quarter report, just fucking tell the guys that made the best selling game of 2025 to just keep doing what they want to do. Don't make them use AI. Don't make them do anything. Just let them do what they need to do. They made the best selling game of 2025. You dethroned your number one competition. You have open runway now. Like, you are the de facto first person shooter live service game for the next year. You have open runway. Just let them continue to do what they want to do. And their next quarterly report will be fine. Like, it just seems so simple that I can't believe how stupid people are. It's just crazy.
I, I mean, you ever see an AI finance bro or an AI bro speak?
Yeah.
It's insane. It's fucking insane.
I can't.
And
I
I guess
just,
I guess I guess while we're on the topic, I think it's a good idea to go to our next topic because it's still in the same vein.
yeah, that's true. That's true. Um, Overwatch. You know I love it.
Get back into it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's one of my favorite games of all time. Um, it's hit some hard times recently, but we're bouncing back. We're bouncing back. And one of those hard times was when creator Jeff Kaplan left the game, and he gave an interview this past week that illuminated on a lot of the reasons why he chose to leave. And by God, I agree. I'm looking at a Polygon kind of summary of the art of the interview. Um Jeff Kaplan left in 2021 after 19 years of the company. Um, he's working on another game. I've not seen anything about it because this interview kind of took precedence. So good on him. I love Jeff Kaplan. I will definitely check out his game. But he appeared on the Lex Friedman podcast this past Wednesday for a 5-hour interview. That's a long ass interview. During during which he discussed his early career at Blizzard, his work on World of Warcraft, and the highs and lows of Overwatch. Kaplan, ever the optimist, displayed fine fondness for his time working at Blizzard, but he identified where things started to go wrong with Overwatch and what
Mhm.
ultimately led to his resignation. As an Overwatch fan, this was pretty heartbreaking to listen to and to read, because I, I can't imagine creating something that I love so much and then having it soured by other people to the point where you don't love it anymore. And that's very clearly how Jeff Kaplan feels about it. Um, he goes on to say the major derail was the Overwatch League, which is such a bummer to hear because I loved the Overwatch League. Kaplan said, referring to the now shuttered esports league founded in 2017. As a result, Activision Blizzard overselling the Overwatch League, the executive pressure was monumental, he said. There's a lot of excitement around the Overwatch League, like too much, Kaplan recalled. It got overmarketed to the people buying the teams. They went on this roadshow and they were pretty much selling the Brooklyn Bridge that Overwatch League was going to be more popular than the NFL, which is insane.
What? I didn't know.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. So this is kind of
I
a
didn't know they were selling that.
this is kind of a side rail, but it's still relevant. Jason Schreier, friend of the show, put out a book last year called Play Nice: The Story of Blizzard Entertainment. And in that book, we got a lot more details around the Overwatch League and stuff. Literally, literally the staff at Blizzard wanted to run this very close to how the LCS does it for League of Legends, where teams could buy in for like an X amount of money. They would give them some funds to keep the teams running, but most of that stuff would be over the teams. No. Bobby Kotick,
Of course.
enemy of the show, waltzes in and says, "No, we're gonna make this like the NFL," and literally contacted NFL team owners like Robert Kraft. Robert Kraft, owner of the New England Patriots, literally had an Overwatch team, the Boston Uprising. Like they went after these big wig like teams. Only like 2 or 3 or 4 of the Overwatch League teams were actually owned by esports conglomerates. A lot more of them were either privately owned or owned by sports teams. which is crazy. Um, to get into the Overwatch League, slots were like $50 million.
That's way too much for that.
I think LCS they're $10 million for the slot. And then Riot like helps you out and with some of the
I would
funding
also
and
imagine it was
stuff.
probably was. I would also imagine it wasn't 10 million at the start.
Probably not. Yeah. Well, maybe so. I don't know. I don't know much about all of that. But like, yeah, no, like when Jeff Kaplan says this, like he means it. Like Bobby Kotick thought that this was going to take over the world, all because you slapped city names onto teams. Like that was it.
Even if you thought it was going to do well, to think it was going to do better than the NFL, really, the
Yeah.
sport that has functionally has turned its championship into an American holiday.
Yeah.
That NFL, you're going to think
Yeah.
you're going to do better than them, really?
Yeah. After billionaire investors bought into the league to the tune of $20 million, so maybe it wasn't 50 million, $20 million, they started demanding new features in Overwatch that the development team wasn't equipped to handle, at least not while they were trying to run Overwatch as a live game and grow it. What they're talking about there is like team skins, which they did actually get into the game, and just other cosmetics that people could spend money on that would then go to the owners in some way, shape, or form. Building Twitch integration, camera control for broadcasts, and uniforms for Overwatch League teams strained the Overwatch team, Kaplan said. All of your plans at that point kind of go out the window, Kaplan said. You're not working on a new world events. You're not even really focused on Overwatch 2. You're just kind of treading water. Kaplan called the Overwatch League a house of cards and a great idea with wrong instincts. I agree with that last part. There was too much focus on let's make lots of money really fast, he said. Back
Well,
to your
and
point.
there's what.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Eventually, Overwatch League owners realized that no, Blizzard's Esport League wasn't going to outshine the NFL. No fucking shit.
No,
Fork
NFL
found
has
in kitchen, water is wet.
NFL's been around for what? I mean, in its current iteration, 60 plus years. And that's before the Super Bowl era. Like,
Yeah.
it's built up to that. You weren't going to take it down in a couple of years.
Yeah. Originally, the business model was going to be that they were going to do in-person Overwatch League events, and there was going to be big ticket sales and merch and all of that. Kaplan recalled. Really quickly, everyone learned that we can't do in-game events while we have a London team and a Shanghai team. How does this work? So that fell apart super quickly. The merch was good, but it wasn't going to be making NFL level money, whatever insanity anyone thought that was going to be. So everyone quickly defaulted back to, hey, didn't Overwatch make $500 million just in the live game last year? What can we sell and what can you give us? That pressure comes onto the team, and then the pressure to ship an Overwatch 2, and then all the care and love that we had for the live game and the live service. Let's make events, new heroes, new maps. We're losing all of these resources. Kaplan said that in 2016 and 2017, he felt very in control as the game director, but as the Overwatch League came to life, it ended up being an albatross. While the pressure sounds intense, it wasn't the Overwatch League's failure. The league officially shut down in 2024 that convinced him to give up his dream job. It was one meeting with a Activision Blizzard executive. So now we get into the real shit. But going back to what he said before I get into the next part of the interview, all of that is true. All of that is corroborated by Jason Schreier's research in his book. Bobby Kotick fucking loved Overwatch and thought it was the best thing since sliced bread, and put relentless pressure on Team 4 to make everything Overwatch as successful as humanly possible. And Overwatch was successful. Game of the year 2016. One of my favorite video games of all time. But no game dev can work under
No,
those pressures.
no game is ever going to rival the fucking NFL. Not even Worlds does that.
Oh god no. Oh god no.
Like
League of
that.
Legends esports is a global event and it still pulls in less viewers than fucking one Super Bowl.
I mean, like, fuck were you think? No, what? I mean, it is kind of like I didn't know that that's what the promise was. I just thought they were they seemed like we're shooting things a bit because like why is it it did feel like a bit more of a production than League was to an extent, but it's like you're not doing League numbers yet, so I don't understand why you're pushing it. But I didn't know the promise was, yeah, we're gonna fight the NFL one day.
Yeah, and not
Like,
to mention too, Overwatch is not a good spectator sport
no, it's
because
not. I mean,
it's in the first person, and esports in general is not a very good spectator sport because you have to know the game to really understand what's going on. So
no, I
both of
mean,
those factors, you know.
no, I would. It's definitely not a esports. I mean, I watch fighting games like that, but esports are never going to be bigger than normal sports. Like that's just not a. There's a lane for them.
Yes,
There absolutely is. But I'm also. I mean, this also can show you how dumb these billionaires are. The fact that Robert Kraft, owner of the New England Patriots, didn't immediately go, "No, that's bullshit. You're not. This Overwatch team's not going to make me more money than the New England Patriots."
Boston
How
Uprising
did?
also what statistically was one of the worst teams in the 5 years that the Overwatch League existed.
But still, like, how would you like? You want this motherfucker had Tom Brady on his team.
Yeah.
Like, how would he not know? Like, no, you're not. No, a video game is not going to beat me. I'll sell more jerseys of Tom Brady than I can ever get. Copies of Overwatch.
Yes, that is
Like,
accurate.
like, how is he not? How did he not laugh Bobby Kotick out of the room?
Because they're friends. That's why.
Yeah, they've probably visited a certain island together. That's probably why they're friends.
Accurate. So let's get into why Jeff Kaplan left Blizzard. What ultimately broke me in my Blizzard career was I got called into the CFO's office and he sits me down and says Overwatch has to make redacted amount of money in 2020. And then every year after that, it needs to have a recurring revenue of redacted. Kaplan recalled. Then he says to me, if it doesn't do redacted dollars, we're gonna lay off 1,000 people, and that's gonna be on you. And that was just the biggest fuck you moment I've ever had in my career. It felt so surreal to be in that condition. Kaplan's comments about specific figures are redacted in the podcast due to a non-disclosure agreement. So we don't ever know the number, but it's probably very, very high. I had believed I would never work any other place but Blizzard, Kaplan said. I loved it. It was part of who I was, and I felt I was a part of it. And I literally thought I would retire from the place. I never thought the day would come, and that was it. I was like, we're done here. Luckily for Blizzard, that CFO is no longer there. Activision's Blizzard's chief financial officer at the time was longtime executive Dennis Durkin. He left the company in May 2021, 1 month after Kaplan. Kaplan is now working on a new game, The Legend of California, which doesn't look anything like Overwatch. Kaplan's new studio, Kinsugiyama, describes its new venture as a multiplayer action survival FPS set on the island of California during the Gold Rush era. Dreamhaven, the publisher founded by ex-Blizzard boss Mike Morhaime, is publishing the game. Okay, cool. But yeah, so all of this gives honestly just proves everybody's theory as to why he left, honestly.
I mean, it does that. I was thinking it shows exactly why did Overwatch 2 failed. I think it shows perfectly why. Because I mean, like, if they were making that game because, I mean, the excuse of like we're making a PvE campaign was the excuse they gave to make people swallow it. But it's because, I mean, the same thing happened with that's why there's Destiny 2. Because I mean, Bungie had the same idea for doing like a 10-year plan with Destiny 1. Mm-hmm. So Destiny 2 shouldn't have ever been. But Bobby Kotick wanted a sequel. And so the 10-year plan got turned over to Destiny 2 after they got freed. Because I guarantee if they would have stayed under Activision, they would have made Destiny 3 already.
Yeah.
But that wasn't the plan for Bungie at all. And then the same thing here with Overwatch. Like, they needed to revamp the game to try and get more of this money in, and he didn't want to. Because, I mean, from time-wise, I mean, who have had to leave before Overwatch 2 came out. So they were left with a Bobby Kotick and his crew clamping down on them, an entire shit show going on behind the scenes. So of course Overwatch 2 fell flat on its face. And I'm thankful that despite Overwatch 2 falling flat in its face, they didn't just pull the plug on the game.
Yeah.
Because it does seem now, at least under Microsoft. I mean, the fact I'm giving credit to Microsoft of all things at this point. Yeah. They seem to be just kind of letting them do what they need to do with it. And they've as of right now, they've gone back to Overwatch, just calling it Overwatch, and the game's actually pretty good now.
Yeah.
They're addressing things. They're I know what your characters. The balancing is good. I genuinely back when 24 when I said before when Rebels came out, I felt Overwatch it gave Overwatch a black eye, which it
Yep.
did. But unfortunately now Overwatch wasn't failing at the of the Des part. It was because of the that's upper brass. Um, but at this point, I actually enjoy playing Overwatch more than I do Rivals at this point.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's good to see Overwatch bouncing back. I just whenever I see interviews like this, I think of like peak Overwatch 2017, like Overwatch was hitting its stride, everything felt really, really good. And I just think of if this world didn't have Bobby Kotick and Jeff Kaplan was just able to make the game that he wanted to make, where would Overwatch be now? There wouldn't have been an Overwatch 2. There
No,
probably would have been a lot more lore events and stuff. Like Jeff Kaplan clearly had a vision that was derailed by upper brass wanting more money. And I just really wish that in some
they're
timeline we could see what that vision really was. Because again, Overwatch 1 is one of my favorite experiences in video game, one of my favorite games of all time. And I do see flashes of that in Overwatch 2 these days, but like nothing will ever take me back to
no,
2017 Overwatch. Like
no.
it just
Unfortunately, unfortunately, it can't get rid of the damage it did over its past, but it's trying to at least turn the chapter. But yeah, I mean, I think if Bob Code didn't exist, then it would be a great world anyway.
yeah.
But if Jeff Conrad got to do what he wanted to do, I think the Overwatch League will have eventually existed. I don't think it would have existed as soon as it did, but I think it would have eventually existed, but in a different in a format close to LCS.
Yeah, because right now the Overwatch there is like an Overwatch esports league, and it seems like it's quite healthy. So I think that would be the form that it was in. But yeah, um, people that don't know what they're talking about act like they know what they're talking about, and it just goes to shit. Um, I would love to know what Bobby Kotick was smoking when he said the Overwatch League was going to be bigger than the NFL because that shit, that's probably
I
some
mean, he's
good
a fucking
shit.
idiot. He's a fucking idiot. I mean,
Yeah.
he's a slime ball, and it's. I mean, knowing that he's in a certain files have been published, it's just kind of like yeah, of course he is. I mean, he may be the worst gaming CEO ever.
But he made fuck tons of money. So if you're depending on who you're talking to, he's the best gaming CEO ever.
No, but I think that's the problem with this. In a lot of things is they act like that's what matters, and the people like that are what's ruining everything.
Yep, you're right. You're right. Well, you mentioned Microsoft there. Let's talk a little bit about Microsoft. And today we're not necessarily beating into them today. Today, um, GDC was this past week, so we got lots of news about upcoming stuff. But most notably, Xbox outlined their vision of their next console, codenamed Project Helix, as it was revealed by new CEO Asher Sharma ahead of the GDC conference. And we pretty much just got confirmation of what this is going to be. And it's definitely just going to be a PC console hybrid type thing. Very close to the Steam machine, um, according to the reveal at GDC. Obviously, this is still very early on. Um, they didn't have any console to show off or anything like that, didn't have any specs or anything. It was mostly just talking about their intentions and where they're going with this next console. But it still gives us lots of insights on what's going on. So I'm looking at a This Week in Video Games article about it. Um, Jason Ronald, VP of Next Generation at Microsoft Gaming, spoke about the company's ambitions for the console in terms of graphical performance and delivery, speaking about developments in ray tracing, rendering, and texture compression. Ronald also announced that alpha versions of Project Helix hardware will be sent to developers sometime in 2027. So that gives us kind of a window where they're targeting. This thing's probably not going to come out until like 2028. maybe late 2027, but more likely in 2028, since so you give devs time to actually make games for the thing. Microsoft will begin rolling out an Xbox mode to Windows 11, a
Mhm.
gaming-focused interface navigable by controller, expanding the approach it has already taken with its partnered handheld device, the Asus ROG Ally, Xbox Ally. The rollout will begin April of this year, beginning in a few select markets. Ronald suggests that Microsoft's approach to gaming would assist developers in providing a common development platform across multiple devices, helping to reduce costs in terms of the work required to optimize titles, meaning you just have to make it for PC and it'll work. um, in the company's public facing summary of the talk, Ronald emphasized Microsoft's continued goal to create a more unified gaming ecosystem, breaking down the barriers between console and PC games and making the Xbox experience consistent across screens. Um, it's interesting that he says that because they just stopped the everything is an Xbox marketing. So that's interesting. Um, Technologically, Ronald claimed that Project Helix would deliver an order of magnitude leap in ray tracing performance and capability, allowing for more efficient performance in the real time light rendering tech. Ronald remarked that ray tracing has always been the holy grail of computer graphics. Another focal point for the system would be its new neural rendering techniques, an advancement of current upscaling and frame generation technology that would be integrated into the system's new AMD developed chip. Um, we've reached some of the limitation of what's possible with traditional rendering techniques, and if we want to continue advancing the state of the art, we have to invent brand new technology, which I do agree with. I do agree with. We've kind of reached a zenith point for graphics, so refining what we have is probably the way to go. Um, Texture compression was the final talking point regarding the Helix tech, with Ronald talking up the ability to more quickly deliver graphical information and get into the fun as quickly as possible, quote unquote. So, um, so that's kind of Microsoft's path for the next console. Like I said, all of this really does is reaffirm the things that we thought.
Yeah, and that's what we thought. I don't think this is gonna be a very one. I think it's gonna be expensive. I think we're
Yeah,
looking. It's the PS. I think this signifies not carrying the Switch too, but like kind of a home console type deal. The PS5 will be the cheapest of the three, so it could include the Steam machine, the whatever the Xbox is, and then
yeah,
PS5, PS6, I guess now. Um, but and I don't think they'll make that many of it compared to what
no,
the Xbox Box Series got. Um, it just like I said, it just kind of seems straightforward what they're doing here. I mean, they really just had no choice in the matter. I don't think they. I don't. I think we mentioned in our last episode that more than likely they probably wouldn't have done this if it wasn't so far in R&D once Asher Swarmer took over. If this thing wasn't this far enough into it, they might have just canned it and just been
yeah,
done with it on full third party. But
I agree.
um,
But
I think this.
I was gonna
Go
say
ahead.
on that point though, I wonder if they would have pulled back if Sony's announcement would have continued through about stepping away from PC. Because I think this is confirmation that this is why Sony's stepping away from PC is they don't want a Sony game playing on an Xbox branded anything if they can help it. So I wonder if in this world, Asher Sharma comes in and he goes, "Yeah, we're just gonna can this," and then Sony goes, "Yeah, we're stepping away from PC." I wonder if they still would have then greenlit it then as a alternative um, to what PlayStation's doing, because a lot of people really don't like PlayStation's monopoly, and so you might have been able to pull in some people that weren't necessarily sold on a PlayStation. Um,
No, but I think also pushing this monopoly is just is somewhat similar to Steam's monopoly, where it's just like
True,
you they only have it because all their competitions were stupid and
yeah,
fell in face. So
it's true.
um,
But yeah, I mean, this is basically just everything we thought. It's going to be PC hybrid. You're going to be able
mhm.
to run Steam games on it. It's going to be not as powerful as like an actual PC, but it probably will play most like the new releases. And I 100% agree with your point. I think it's going to be expensive.
Mhm. My guess is at least 1,000.
Yeah, that's
My
yeah.
guess.
And honestly, probably more, honestly.
Mhm.
Because we don't know what the price is going to be in when it releases in terms of like
But,
RAM and stuff like that. So,
but I don't even think they're gonna have like they're gonna put in like Walmart game sections. I think there would be like some like boutique, like buy off Microsoft's website, Microsoft stores, Best Buy maybe, but like it's not gonna be a very it ain't gonna be like it is like a Switch or PS5 where you can just walk into a grocery store and buy one.
yeah. I'm not 100% sold on that because it's still going to be branded as an Xbox. So, I would imagine that it will all depend on player sentiment when the thing gets like officially announced. If people are
Hmm.
excited for it, I can definitely see buyers at Walmart and Target saying, "Yeah, we'll dedicate some shelf space to this." But if the player sentiment's like you're saying, like this is a very niche thing, it's not going to be meant for widespread appeal. I can definitely see buyers from Target and Walmart being like, "Yeah, no, we don't, we're good with
I
just
mean,
giving Sony and Nintendo space."
I don't think Walmart and Target have Rogue Allies in stock, like
No, they do not.
in their brick and mortar stores. So it's very possible that happens with that here. So
Yeah, I can definitely see where Best Buy is like the only domestic retailer that would carry these.
yeah, I could safely see that. GameStop possibly too.
Yeah. Um,
That's about it.
but who knows? Like I said, this is pretty much just everything we thought it was going to be, just confirmation of it. So, um, it'd be interesting to see Steam have some competition. Um,
Yes.
maybe question mark. I don't know. Um, let's get into our final two stories here. Both of these are kind of quicker stories, but both of them good and kind of at least this first one a win for gamers. It was reported late last year that blockbuster hit Arc Raiders had AI voice acting in it. They said that the reason being that they really didn't have the time or funds to bring in individual people to record like hundreds of lines of like every item and stuff like that, which does make sense, but does not a good enough excuse to include AI. Um, Now that they've made a little bit of money and and have the time and ability to do so, they are replacing the AI voices with human ones, which the CEO admits are better.
Mm-hmm.
Again, fork found in kitchen, water is wet,
Mm-hmm.
clouds in the sky. I'm looking at a Kotaku article about the subject. Arc Raiders was one of the biggest games of last year, but with its AI generated voice lines rubbed many the wrong way. Now, Embark CEO Patrick Soderlund said that the team has replaced many of the text to speech lines with real human recorded dialogue, and that it's better than the AI slop featured at launch.
No
Um,
shit.
yeah, yeah. Um, the CEO of Nexon, the game's publisher at the time, said that all studios were using AI tools, and that's just the way that it is. But Sutherland and his team have reversed course a bit. Sounds Sutherland explained that a lot of the in-game voice lines and arc raiders are recorded by human actors, and now there are fewer AI generated lines in the game than there was when it launched last year. He goes on to say, we re-recorded some of the lines post-launch and made them with real voices. There is a quality difference. A real professional actor is better than AI. That's just how it is. We looked at AI first and foremost as a production tool. We can test things internally. We can test 15 different lines without recording them, and then we know what to record. It's also a way for us to work, not replace actors. We don't necessarily believe in replacing humans with AI all the time. Sutherland also explained that the studio pays its actors for all time spent in the booth recording lines, and that continues to bring many of them back as we carry on updating the games. Like I said, fork found in kitchen, water's wet. Like, like
I mean, that's one of the reasons I didn't get the game. I wasn't much distraction shooters, but also I was one supporting that used AI voices. So I'm glad to hear that they're changing it back. Cause like, yeah, no shit. There's a reminded of a what Amazon tried to do with some of the animes they have. They dubbed them. I forget the name of it. I think it's like Blue Lagoon or something like that. something like that. I forget what it could have been. I could be wrong. I forget the name of it. Of the anime they did it too. But they decided to redub this anime with AI. It was the English dub, and it was awful. Like there's this clip I saw where this character got shot and was dying in his other character's arms, and the guy who was holding him was just like, "No, don't go. Please don't do this." And then like he died in his arm, and he just turned to the guy who shot the gun and was like, "You're gonna pay for this." Like, what world is that acceptable? But these are earlier stories. These execs think, "Oh, save a dime now. You can get money right now," and not
Yep.
think of the reputational harm you're doing. Because all it's told me
No,
right now is
don't
don't watch it.
go.
Don't. All it's told me is don't watch anime on Amazon Prime
Yeah, for
because
real.
it might get AI dubbed.
Well, so hopefully, Arc Raiders and Embark will continue to replace those lines with real people. Um, so yeah, a win against the threat of AI. So we'll take it. We'll take it. Uh, then rounding out the show, we'll close with just another glazing fest for our favorite games last year. At GDC, they have a Game Developers Choice Awards, and yeah. Can you guess who won? It was Claire
I'm gonna
Obscure
guess.
Expedition 33.
Shoot! I thought it was uh, Call of Duty Black Ops 7. That's what
It
I'm
was
putting
not.
money on.
So I'm looking at a This Week in Video Games rundown uh of the winners. So we'll just take a look at some of the major categories here. Best audio nominated were Claire Obscure, Death Stranding 2, Ghost of Yote, Rift of the Necrodancer, and South of Midnight. Claire Obscure ended up winning it, of course. Honorable mentions. I love how each category has an honorable mention, which is like categories, which is kind of cool. So, honorable mentions for this one: Arc Raiders, Donkey Kong Bonanza, Doom: The Dark Ages, Luminous Arise, and To a T. Best debut. We talked about this a little bit before the show. This is a stacked category. Ball X Pit, Blueprints, Claire Obscure, Dispatch. Claire Obscure did win it out. Very competitive category, in my opinion. Honorable mentions: Arc Raiders, Consume Me, Hollow Knight 6 Song, weird because that wasn't a debut. Hunter Line, Last Defense Academy, weird because it wasn't a debut. And The Root Trees Are Dead. Best Design: Ball X Pit, Blueprints, Claire Obscure Expedition 33, Donkey Kong Bonanza, Split Fiction. Blueprints won that one. Um, Honorable mentions: Death Stranding 2, Ghost of Yote, Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, and The Altars. Innovation Award: Ball X Pit, Baby Steps, Claire Obscure, Donkey Kong Bonanza, and Blueprints. Blueprints won. Best Narrative: Claire Obscure Expedition 33, Despelote, Dispatch, Ghost of Yote, Split Fiction, Claire Obscure 1. Honorable mentions for that one: Lost Records, Bloom and Rage, South of Midnight, The Outer Worlds 2, The Seance of Blake Manor. Love that game. Also, nice to see South of Midnight getting a lot of nods. The game's great. Comes out on Switch here soon and PS5. Best Technology: Claire Obscure, Death Stranding 2, Donkey Kong Bonanza, Ghost of Yote, Split Fiction. Death Stranding 2 won that one.
That's fair. That's fair.
Best Visual Art: Absalom, Claire Obscure, Death Stranding 2, Ghost of Yote, Hades 2, and Keeper. Claire Obscure won. That's another fucking stacked category. Game of the Year: Blueprints, Claire Obscure, Donkey Kong, Ghost of Yote, Silk Song, and Split Fiction. Really good nominees for this one. Like, really good. Claire Obscure ended up winning. Honorable mentions for this category: Ball X Pit, Hades 2, and Absalom. Fucking indies and double A's cleaning the fuck up. So, I think that's probably like the last awards for last year.
Did the
But
Dice Awards already happen?
yeah, the Dice Awards did already happen.
Okay.
I'm
Okay. I
pretty
wasn't
sure
sure.
Claire Obscure won Game of the Year for that one.
Of course it did.
I think the Dice Awards were um, back in February. Yeah, they were back in February. Um, yeah, Claire Obscure was Game of the Year.
Of course.
Yeah.
Not a shocker.
Yeah, Claire Obscure won Game of the Year, Outstanding Achievement in Art Direction, Outstanding Achievement in Story, Role Playing Game of the Year, Outstanding Achievement in Game Direction, and then Game of the Year. So, yes. Claire Obscure, continue to clean up. If you haven't played it yet, what the fuck are you doing?
I mean, yeah, it's
Like,
I don't know how people haven't tried it yet at this point. Like, it's everywhere. You can't escape it. Every so often on TikTok, I get someone like a new video of someone reacting to the boss song for the second time Fright We Are, just getting blown up by the song, and all of a sudden they get hit by him because they're not paying attention.
yeah, for sure. It's a crazy boss theme, boss fight. The whole game is just that good. I listen to the soundtrack of it like most every day because it's just so good. It is so good. But yeah, that's going to conclude our show today. Let us know in the comments. Did you play Battlefield 6? Did you buy Battlefield 6? Were you part of the success of Battlefield 6? Only to get people laid off. Um, are you playing Pokopia? Has Pokopia fever taken you over?
Or Resident Evil 9.
Or Resident Evil 9? Yeah.
Is it a couple weeks up from that?
Both of those are the wrong answer. Monster Hunter Stories 3 is the way.
Hey, you guys see Leon be a Chad? Come on.
That's true. Chadcom. Leon is Chadcom. Leon is Chadcom. As much as I like to admit it, if Leon ever came face to face with a Rathalos, it'd be a swift roundhouse kick into double shot into the chin, Rathalos down. Like doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Low rank Rathalos, high rank Rathalos, master rank Rathalos. Doesn't fucking matter. Roundhouse kick.
Somehow
The Rathalos head goes back like this. Bam bam. Dead.
somehow he parries the fire breath of the Rathalos. Like,
yeah, exactly.
You parry an RPG in this game, so like
you what?
You also can parry a car. Someone tested it and they parried, like the car was heading towards them, they hit the parry button at the right time and you didn't take damage.
I feel as though I have to apologize to Resident Evil 5 for Chris Redfield punching the boulder. Because if Leon can parry a fucking car, I kind of believe that Chris Redfield could punch through a boulder. I don't like that I have to believe that, but I feel like that is accurate at this present moment in time. Yeah, I have a lot to think about today. My worldview has forever been shifted. I think honestly now I've been calling for a Code of Veronica remake. I think they have to remake fucking 5 now, and Chris has to punch the boulder still. Like that's the only way.
To ever make 5, you had to keep the bundle punching. Like, could have changed some things on 5, but keep the boulder punching. It has to stay.
Yeah, it's got to now at this point. If Leon's out here fucking
Parrying
Leon's out here
RPGs.
recording fucking parrying shit, it's only fair. All right, well, let us know in the comments if you're playing Resident Evil 9 or Pokopia, and we'll catch you in the next episode.
Adios.